record and they can watch the recording later, or they'll just jump in when they get on. So for those of you that this is your first virtual happy hour with us, my name is Holly, for the people that are friends and friends of Kayla. And I really just like people and bringing people together for good reasons. And I was so fortunate, probably, gosh, 8 months ago, I started getting to spend every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 7 a.m. with Kayla after I was sweating from boxing, and she would blow my hair out and allow me time to work, but also became a good friend. And she recently got married, and her fiance had got this huge promotion and moved to Chicago and broke my heart. And so with that being said, we've been texting and have stayed in touch, and she's been getting on some of these virtual happy hours. And I realized that she has a skill that most of us wish that we had, how to blow our hair out. Amazing. The other thing that I've done, because I did not have any hair products in my home, because I was going to Kayla 3 days a week, I now have this huge box of product that I ordered based on her recommendations so that I can try to make myself look the way that she did. But what I'm excited about, she's been, if you've been on these happy hours, she's been such a fun, active participant, asks good questions, brings a lot of personality and zest to it. So excited to learn from her today. And just know, like I mentioned, we had 50 people RSVP for this one, which has been the most. So clearly there's a need. So we've already tucked her in to doing some other hair how-tos later on in our season of social distancing. So I encourage you to put your screen on speaker view so that you're not seeing everyone square, so that you can really see what Kayla's doing with the mannequin models. And then the other thing that I would say is these are completely meant to be interactive and conversational. So feel free to take yourself off mute when you have questions. There's no protocol, just jump right in and say, hey, I have a question or a comment or an aha, because this has worked for me before, because we're also all learning from each other. All right, Miss Kayla, get away.
That's awesome. Okay, so like Holly said, anytime you guys want to interrupt me, please do. I love questions. They also help me focus, so get in there. So first thing I've got is this gorgeous model. Her name is Whitney. So Whitney here, I've already pre-dried her hair to about, let's say 80%. The biggest mistake that when people make whenever they're blow drying their hair at home is not pre-drying it enough. So you always want to pre-dry your hair a little bit before you start applying product and before you start really getting into your hair. So I mostly use Unite products, and today I'm bringing in a few products that I brought from my salon. And
I did a really bad thing. I didn't tell everyone that you work with Blow, and that your boss is actually getting on, your Chicago boss is getting on this Zoom, and the Unite products are all from Blow. Okay, sorry, I should have teased that. Shame on me.
No shame included. So later on, so right now, in case any of you guys are interested in having hair products, Unite is currently having a 30% off sale for products, which is unheard of with their brand, but you know, the circumstances. I'll include a link in the chat later on so that you guys can select on it if you guys need anything. But I'll go ahead and show you the products that I'm using. The first product that I'm using today is our 7 Seconds Detangler. It's it's a leave-in conditioner, but it's also a heat protectant. So I usually start with this just to kind of comb out the hair so that you don't tangle to shit. That sounds terrible. Pardon my French. I'm not very proper. Sorry, Mom. And then I use a wet brush just to kind of comb through everything. Now I've already pre-dried this hair. Usually you would do this before you pre-dry it, but she's gotten a little nappy since I let her sit here for a few minutes. So I'm gonna go through there, pre-dry it, and then the second product I'm gonna use is our Blowout Cream by Unite. This is a really good all-around blowout product. The most important things you can remember when you're blowing out your own hair is pre-drying, sectioning, and product. Because the biggest thing that most people remember, and the most common mistake that we make, is not pre-drying our hair enough, not applying product, and not sectioning it out. So pre-drying like drying your hair on your own becomes this huge chore because it's just, you really don't know where to start. So I'm applying the blowout cream from roots to ends for the most part. I use about a pea size in my hand. For product, you really don't need that much unless you have a crap ton of hair. And I know some of you guys do. I've seen it. Shayna. Then you use about a quarter amount. But just like roots to ends all the way through. Once you feel like the hair has been saturated enough, then you're going to want to section it out. This is after you've pre-dried it. Make sure the hair, it feels almost dry, but it's still cold from the dampness. Now, for the most part, whenever I section hair, I section it into about 5 sections. I start about here at the brow line and go back. Same on the other side. You want to create kind of a little mohawk right here in the top. And this is probably, if I were to say any section wasn't the most important for your blowout, it would be this one right here. Because this is the section where you get the most volume and you get the most control. And really, like the back of your hair is important, but when you're blowing out your own hair, you really want that money maker to come in this side. Like right around the face framing. So I'm gonna, and please tell me if I'm shouting because I'm very nervous and I like to yell when I'm excited.
The volume's perfect.
Awesome.
And then you can do it with all your new friends and a few old ones.
All my new friends. So just clip this into a little mohawk section. And then I'm going to turn this over here so you guys can see this. Do you see where this section ends here? Best thing is to do is just kind of make a little section right behind your ear. If you can't feel this part, then just feel the top of your ear and go straight up. And that'll be the section you do in the front. That'll help you have more control when you have the round brush. Now, a lot of these positions are going to be different whenever it comes to blow drying itself, specifically because it's on your own hair. But when I get into that, I'll show you exactly how you're probably going to look. Sorry, OCD. Coming in from behind your hair, which is how you're probably going to be when you're blow drying your own hair out. So in the back, it's going to be a little tricky whenever you're sectioning your own hair, but the good thing to do is just kind of feel it out. So if you start at the section you did at the front that you can see, and then just kind of scoop your hands into the back and create one section here. You want it to be roughly around the same width as the brush that you're using. And then just twist that up and pull it up. And if it's not totally even, it's gonna be fine. Honestly, as long as you have enough control over your hair. Having smaller sections lets you get it drier faster because it allows that air to flow through the brush. So y'all have to let me know how the sound sounds for this next part because I don't know how loud this is going to be on camera, but I can definitely show you without the sound if it becomes obnoxious. So first thing through, so I blow dry wonky handed. Most of the time, whenever you're blow drying with a round brush, you want the round brush to be in your dominant hand because that's the hand you need to get tension with. For me, I blow dry left-handed. So I keep the brush in my left hand because that's where I have the most strength and the most control. Just scoop that underneath the hair. You can usually feel this out just by coming around the back of your head and like parting it in the center. And then make sure half of your hair is on this side of your head. That way you have a good like section of hair, but it's not more than the brush you're using, and you have enough control over it. If your hair is really short or shorter than this, you always want to use like a smaller size brush. That way you can go through and wrap the hair around. Whatever size brush that you use, if your hair is too short to wrap around the brush, the best way to do it is to just like really twist it and pull it taut. That way you have tension. Tension is the most important thing you can use to get your hair smooth. In this case, I'm going to use a 55-inch brush. You can find these at Sally's or online or wherever. You're afraid the brush will get stuck. So that's a common fear, but as long as you have like a section that's like about this big, you can always get it unstuck. I can show you right now, and this is a good example. I'll use my own hair as an example. So if you get your brush stuck in your hair, so you take it like this and you cup it around and you feel like it's stuck. You just have to stop, feel the direction the hair is going, and gently pry it over the edge. It's a common problem, but you can always fix it without pulling your hair out. The most important part about that is not to panic. Because if you panic, you're going to keep pulling at the brush and getting it more and more tangled, and that's the worst thing you could do. The second you feel like it's gotten stuck, just stop what you're doing, feel where the hair is, poke your finger underneath it, and pull it over the edge. And that'll pry it off of the brush. But it's a pain in the butt, but it happens to everyone. Panicking will genuinely only make it worse. I've been there. I've made it 1,000 times worse back when I was a rookie in cosmetology school. But so what you want to kind of feel the back of your head. If you can reach around, grab the hair, wrap it around the brush. So from there, blow dry it down. So you want the blow dryer to be focused down the hair shaft so that you can slowly smooth the hair down. So there are two ways to do it. One is you can twist it like I'm doing here, twist it down into your hand. The other way is to pull it straight. It just depends on what you're comfortable with and what your dexterity level is with your hands. It's genuinely very hard to twist it depending on how long your hair is. So if your hair is very long, just getting it as secure as you can and pulling the brush through your hair shaft while blowing it down will still get it very smooth. If you want a little bit of bend, twisting it is usually the best way.
Hey, Kayla.
So blow it down the hair shaft.
So you're getting,
What was your question, Mom?
we're getting really close to the hair. And I noticed that you have an end on the end of your hair dryer. I've been known, you get on to me whenever I start to do my own hot tools. I've been known to cause damage to my hair. Can you kind of talk through how you're doing that, for lack of a better way to say it, safely?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that you can do, I don't know if you can see this right now, but like the hair has kind of gotten a little twist out because it's taking the shape of the brush, just with hindsight. So when I pre-dry the hair, I take the end off. This concentrator is what allows you to blow dry the cuticle smooth. Your hair has a few layers in it. Whenever we're blow drying your hair, the layer that we are the most concerned about is the cuticle. It's the topmost layer of your hair. It's like shingles on a roof. Whenever you blow dry it whenever you put hot hair on that and you blow dry it in the right direction, these shingles lay down. And that's what creates a smooth hair shaft, is by smoothing down that cuticle. The cuticle always goes down your hair. So whenever, like say, whenever you're rough drying your hair or when you get out of the shower, it just, those cuticles stick up all the way. Then you take the blow dryer, you like blow dry it down the hair shaft, it forces those cuticles smooth. So the concentrator on the blow dryer I'm using now like forces that air into one single direction down the hair shaft. It'll smooth down those cuticles.
Awesome, thank you.
So I don't know if you can see what I was doing here, but like this is already dry. But basically, I used the blow dryer on itself down the hair shaft all the way down, twisted it towards the end. You can either let the hair go like this, which will give it a nice like bend in the opposite direction, or if you have the dexterity, which I don't, you can twist it out away from your face, just like this. And that'll give it a nice little twist and it's like just the slightest curl at the end of your hair. Let me know if this hair dryer is too loud while I'm working. So the 7 seconds blowout cream that I have has a heat protectant in it, and also the 7 seconds detangler that I used before I prepped this protects your hair from the heat. So you can put as much heat from the hair dryer on your hair as you need to, as long as you have a good product that protects your hair from it. You bring the hair all the way down. So whenever you pre-dried your hair, these sections dry very fast. So it's easier to get started once your hair is dried a little bit. Let me know if you guys have any questions. This is pretty much, so it's the same thing all the way up through here.
Hey, Kayla, can you show that little twist you do at the end when you undo the hair?
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever you're doing your hair, the best way to, a lot of people like a little flip away from their face. It gives them a little movement, a little body. It's the same movement whether you have it on a mannequin or whether you have it in your hair. But so you can put the heat towards the end here. Roll it through your fingers if you can. So the twist that Kendra was talking about is, so sometimes whenever I'm wanting the hair to set, I'll get it to a point where it feels dry. And the way that you can tell if it's dry is just run your hands through it, rewrap it, go back through, and then hold the brush up towards the root, and then just sort of twist it away from your face. Just like this, just twist it. And whenever you twist it like that, the hair, because it's already hot, will form into that little like whippy tail shape. And you can even run your run your brush through it, it'll still hold to that shape because it's hot, it's warm around your brush. I'm just gonna go do this all the way up and then I'll show you the sides and front. So one thing I'll say is when your hair is very thick or very curly, taking smaller sections is very helpful, but you usually want to just have the sections about the same size as your brush because then it helps you get through your hair a lot faster. Oh, I'm sorry, someone.
What are your thoughts on the blow dryer / brush combo that seems to be really popular right now?
Yeah, so to be perfectly honest, the one that I've got is an Olivia Garden brush, but I have not. I love the Unite blow dryer and blow dryer set, but the blow dryer I've got right now is an bio-ionic blow dryer, and it's been doing me very well. And really, any thermal brush that you have, like these holes in, are the most important part, will really do you fine in this situation.
What about the hot tools that exist that are like a brush that's also a blow dryer?
So it's a little, there's so many out there right now as far as the hot tools go for the blow drying. I've heard really good things about the Dyson hot tools that are out right now. I don't personally use them because I'm so used to using the round brush blow dryer situation. But um, I forget the name brand specifically, but I've heard a lot of really good things about them. And honestly, My opinion on those is they're great as long as you get enough tension and as long as you have good product in your hair.
Thank you. So the product, got it. Perfect.
Product matters. So as long as you're using something to protect your hair from the heat, because the one thing about those brushes that I've experienced and read is that it's they can get very, very hot. So you want to make sure to protect your hair from the heat from that. Otherwise, you can cause some damage you don't want to. Oh, my husband just bought me a shot.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
I'll say one thing from the product perspective. You know, like I mentioned, was going to blow with Kayla for 9 months, and even where a very like expensive, nice salon in Austin that I go to, every time I go in, my stylist to get my hair cut, he remarks on how healthy my hair is, because the products that I've been using because of Kayla have been protecting my hair regardless of how often heat has been touching them.
That's a fantastic way to put it. Unite, I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Aveda, but that was the background I came from before I got to Unite. And the one thing I like about Unite itself, if you guys are ever interested, is it's very organic, and it's not they don't do animal testing. They're very animal friendly, things like that you don't normally get from brands. You don't get those promises. So it's nice to switch from a brand that you know is totally vegan, totally environment healthy, to another one that might have a little bit more thin gray hair. It takes very little heat to dry my hair and sometimes gets very frizzy. So with fine gray hair, the best thing you can do is start blow drying it very wet, like soaking wet, especially if it's very fine, because gray hair in particular tends to dry very fast, and you also want to have a very moisturizing product. For thin hair itself, so typically whenever I'm working with thin gray hair, just to sidetrack a little bit, I usually use, with the Unite product, is something like the Boost Thickening Cream, like this. You add a little bit to the hair, it adds some girth to this hair shaft and adds that volume. With thin hair in particular, especially if you can see the shaft, see the scalp, using a thickening agent like this will help to lift the hair off of the scalp and give you that illusion of fullness, even if it's not there. And then using something moisturizing, a moisturizing agent like the Blow and Set lotion, very little of it, or the 7 Seconds Detangler, which is also a leave-in conditioner. You want something that will give you the thickness and the volume and the moisture, because gray hair tends to be very dry and very brittle. Those two things are the most important things you can use to get a good blowout with gray hair. Let me know if I'm rambling. I tend to.
I feel like it's helpful. I also feel like you're doing a really good job of a virtual demonstration. I just realized how hard this probably is, and you're getting lots of nods.
I appreciate you guys so much. All right, so I got a so when it comes to the front part of your hair, I'm going to turn this towards you guys because this is how you're going to be seeing yourself in the mirror. Is getting this front piece into a spot where it flips away from your face. With hair that you're doing on other people, it's easy because you can flip that hair away. It's not hard at all. But with hair on your own head, the best thing I have discovered through whatever I'm doing is to tuck the brush underneath your hair, like here, and then blow dry it forward. That gives it kind of a little, a subtle Farrah Fawcett flip, just away from your face. And then I just bring it forward. you want that curl to be away from your
Hey, Kayla, we couldn't hear what you just said right then.
I'm sorry.
We didn't hear what you just said right then.
Oh, yeah, you want that curl to be away from your face.
Thank you.
So bringing it forward like this is easier on your hands whenever it's on your head, and it also like forces it to be away from your face. So just like this. And then like blow drying the hair down onto the brush. As you can see, like when I let it go, the hair dries very fast on this. You can see her hair is kind of flipping away. Same on this other side. So without the blow dryer on, I'll show you, like take the brush, stick it on the side of your head like this, take the blow dryer and bring it all the way down, all the way forward, as close to your mouth as you can. Because the closer you get to the front of your face, the more volume you get in that flip. And it may look funky whenever you're working on it, but whenever you break it all up, you get this loose, gorgeous movement. Trust the process. Just like that. And if you let your brush sit there for a second, just hang out, and then twist it out of your hair, it'll give you a little bit extra volume, just because it's forcing that hair into that shape. Let me know if you guys can't see anything. I have no idea how I look right now. My picture is like that big.
No, it's good. Yeah, what do you do with the mullet that we made?
So the mullet is definitely the most important part out of everything, because that's what's going to get you the most volume. Perfect. Tilt your head all the way forward, like as far as you can until you can still see in the mirror. Then with your brush or with your hands, take a section that's roughly around the size of the round brush, right here at your crown. Make sure to get the tangles out first before you do this, or your brush is definitely going to get stuck in your hair, I promise. That is also another mistake I've made a couple times. So pretending that this is my head, what I would do is I would go through and use my hand and wrap this section that I've taken right here around my brush and bring it all the way forward. And I mean as forward as you possibly can. Like take this like this crown section and bring it all the way to your hairline. That's going to get you a lot of volume. And it's going to get you a lot of movement, which is really what you want in a blowout, because you want it to look as organic as possible, but like, oh, I woke up like this. My hair is just always this high. So, take it, blast the root, go all the way forward. If you can twist your brush, twist it. If not, just take your hair like this, twist it as hard as you can, and then move it all the way forward. I lost the tip of my blow dryer. Well, sorry. That's what I get for violently putting it under my armpit. Okay, so yeah, just bring it all the way forward. Now, one thing you can do, and if your air dryer has a cold setting, blast this for a second. Otherwise, you can leave your brush in your hair after you felt like it's dry enough and just let it hang out. And then once you feel like it's good, unroll it, twist it out, and let it set on the back. That's going to get you the most volume. You see that root lifting up right here.
So you do that on the cold setting when it's just hanging out?
Yeah. If you let it hang out and you blast it with the cold setting, that forces the heat out of the root and it'll set it into that position. Because the heat breaks those salt molecules in your hair, and then the cold will reset them. It'll force it back into that shape. So you want your hair to like force itself into this voluminous position. And you can see like back here, you can already see that James Bond girl style heading up in the crown area. And then just sort of slowly lift your head up as you're working forward. Working in sections that are just roughly about the same size as your brush. Same way I said before, like wrap it around your head and bring it all the way forward. As forward as you can. Everything out. And unroll it. Now the front section right here, this first section, I would argue is probably the most important section on your hair. No matter what else you do on your hair, this section is your moneymaker. So you take this section and tighten your thing because it's flopping around. Wrap it around your brush and bring it all the way down to your nose, as far down as you possibly can. Because when you flip, most people, unless you're still in a 2004 emo phase, most people kind of flip their hair back just a little bit. That gives you the most volume you can get out of your style, especially if you have a problem with thinner hair, or if you have a problem with hair loss. Getting as much volume out of these roots as possible is going to cover all of that and disguise it. So wrap it around your hairbrush as normal and bring it all the way down to your nose. And once again, just like before, I like to just kind of let, particularly this front section, I really just kind of like to let it hang out for a second. Just chill there. If you have little clips, like these are good too. If you want a lot of volume, then taking this section and unrolling it while it's still hot and sort of rolling it back in your hands like this, and then clipping it like that will force that to set while it's still hot. You can always, that front section in particular, you can always do that. Super quick, super easy. And I'll show you the benefit of that in just a second when we shake out the rest of the hair. So as you can see, all of this, you've got this gorgeous movement going on back here. That comes just from the round brush itself, taking that shape and twisting it around. Whenever you pull out your round brush, if you're able to twist it, take your finger and just twist the hair back. So like roll your round brush and then pull it out, and then take your finger and while it's still hot, twist it like that. And then I'll give you a little bit of shape. It's exciting, you know, but I'm kind of a nerd, so you know I can't be helped. So now this hair cooled down.
You do cold whenever you have the front section just hanging out too, or you just
yes.
Okay.
If you don't have a cold shot on your hair dryer, you can just let it rest. Just clip it and let it rest. It'll cool down on its own while you're working on the rest of this stuff. Another thing I like to do, so like if you have a hairspray, in this case this is a glossing spray. This is an anti-humectant and a heat protectant. So if I was going to use any thermal, like a flat iron or a curling iron, I would use this first. But I also use it as a finishing spray. I can use this on that section before I let it down, and then it'll cool it off a little faster. And then I just let it go. Now, everyone has a different part on their hair. Now, the one thing that's interesting about hairstyles like this is you're tempted to just let it lie, but you want to kind of break it up a little bit so it doesn't look so structured. In her case, I'm just gonna make up a part over here because we have no idea where her hair actually sits.
What did we name her again? I already forgot.
Her name is Whitney.
Whitney.
It's written on her neck. So yeah, we're gonna make Whitney have a part right here on this side. And then I'm just gonna kind of scoop it back away from her face. No matter where you pull that hair front, another common mistake is by trying to blow dry your hair where your part is, but that's the first way to lose your volume. You want to take your part in that section you have here and blow the whole thing forward, everything forward. It won't disrupt your part. Your hair already knows where it wants to go. And then just throw it back. Your hair will just do its thing. So like Whitney here, as you can see, her part is on this side for today. She's got a lot of good natural volume, and you can see that like classic blowout movement throughout the back. And then I set that with either a hairspray, depending on if her hair holds curl or not, or a glossing spray. For this mannequin, she's gonna hold everything. So I'm gonna use a glossing spray, which helps a little bit for holds, but it mostly helps for humidity. So if you are easily, like if you get frizzy very fast, using an anti-humectant or something like this, the glossing spray, is a good way to set your hair and keep it chill without feeling the stickiness of hairspray. That's just a classic blowout. Just, 1, 2, 3.
I love this. What questions do you have?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I was asking them what questions they have.
Yeah, like everyone, please.
Okay, so Liz just said glossing sprays always seem to have such a strong scent. Any suggestions for ones that are not scented?
Ask her if she's used, Liz, have you used the Unite glossing spray yet? As far as I know, the glossing spray we have, now I'm gonna be honest, I might be nose blind because I use it so much, but it's not really a very strong scent.
Okay. Yeah, See, I showered right before this so I could practice immediately afterwards. No, I think most of the ones I've used have not been Unite. I've used Unite like Boing for other, like for curling. But my office has a no perfume policy, so any hairspray at all, is often too strong. So that if you think it doesn't have a smell, then I'll give that one a try.
You know what? I don't think it does, because the only smell that I've ever noticed in Blue, because I go there all the time, was the one that smells like sugar cookie, and I think that's a shampoo.
That's the shampoo. So Holly, I set your hair with glossing every time.
Yeah, I can't smell it, Liz.
All right, excellent. Thanks.
Just pictures of your after.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Alyssa is asking, is it problematic if we don't have the end piece for the hair dryer?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is it problematic if we don't have the end piece for the hair dryer?
It's a little difficult to control the flow, but generally, like, what you would want to do is basically like, so it's like right here, you just want to angle your hair dryer a little farther away from your brush. That way you can like twist it, like get it smooth down that cuticle, but you're not getting the full airflow, because that'll kind of blast the cuticle open. But if you angle it away, it'll still hit your hair, but a little off-center. And yeah, I can absolutely send you a list of the products that I used today. Let me send a text with the.
I'll send you everyone's email addresses, and you can follow up. I'll give you the link to the recording. You can
Perfect.
give it tonight with the discount on whatever products we talked about today.
Yeah, if everyone has an like, I'll send you guys an email with the with the discount available right now and everything. Oh my gosh, that box!
I'm so excited about it. It's been
You better
ready for me.
FaceTime me if you need help.
I need private lessons. Someone's asking how often is it safe to blow out your hair?
So I typically, it's not necessarily the blowing out portion, as long as you have a heat protectant. It's more or less the washing portion, especially if you color your hair. I typically only wash my hair every other day, but you could go even longer than that, and it would be better for your hair and better for your color. So maybe once every 3 days is good to wash your hair.
I'm laughing because I honestly don't know what day I washed my hair this week. Thank you, Cameron.
I was following along, but I think I accidentally pulled my brush too far inwards. But it's
No,
going.
actually, that looks good. You got like a nice like flip.
Impressed.
I've got super thin hair, so this actually gave me a lot more volume. Usually it's like straight to my head. It worked.
I can't wait to try this. So, and the next question was, do you have suggestions for styling in this long period between cuts, since none of us can go get our hair cut? Y'all, I literally wanted to cut my ends off with kitchen scissors the other day. Don't worry.
I know you did, and I told you don't do that without FaceTiming you first.
I was just like, oh, yeah. So
Don't do it.
I'm glad Liz asked that too.
So styling your hair in between, I don't know how much longer you guys have, but I can show you particularly things like bangs. Most people are tempted to cut their bangs when they get a little long. And I can show you styling your hair, especially putting a little curl in your hair. So I typically use like a flat iron brush. Flat iron, it's not plugged in, but like if you take your hair and just kind of twist it back in the flat iron, not all the way, you can get a little texture in it. And you won't notice the uneven ends as much. It's not a permanent fix for a haircut, but it'll help you during the quarantine. And the same thing with bangs. With bangs, like the most annoying part is when they start getting your eyes. I'm at that point now where my bangs are a little too long. You just want to put as much volume in your hair as possible. Whenever you, like if you notice your ends are a little rough, if you use, once your hair is dry, if you use a little extra product, just like not even a dime size, like a quarter of a dime size, rub it in your hands and sort of like smooth it through your ends before you put the round brush in it. That'll help like keep those ends a little bit softer for whenever you blow dry it out. And then just really run your blow dryer through those ends. And then for bangs, oh, sorry.
No, I was excited because I'm like, that's just what Kendra did, and it looked so good.
It makes a big difference, you know, just like really smoothing out the ends. Like even if you don't have a little bit of product and a little bit of heat goes a long way, because those cuticles they get wilder down your hair shaft as you go. And it's the same thing with bangs. So bangs, most of the time people have issues with them being in your eyes. There comes a point when you're going to have to kind of pick apart. So the best way to pick apart for your hair is just find the part that you feel most comfortable with, like parting back here. If you usually part right behind your bangs, just go with your center part. That's easier. If you part to the side like I do, then whenever you're blow drying your hair out, tilt your brush like this to the side where you usually blow dry from. And blow dry it all the way back. Like force it above your ear kind of thing. And it'll force your bangs in that placement where it cups above your eye, but it still parts in the section you want to, even if they're extremely long.
So your sweet mom is asking us, this is a great question. Can you still use this method to get volume when you're doing updos?
Absolutely. Yeah. So whenever I spoke earlier about the method where I clipped the front part back, if you do that and you clip it back all the way here, that's going to get you a lot of volume through here. Leave that until all the rest of your hair is dry. And then when you take it down, just sort of scoop it back. And then you can get a lot of volume throughout your updos. Though with updos, it's always best to tease a little bit because it gives you some security in case you want to push some pins in.
I just realized I want you to do a demo, not today, but for one of our future ones, because we're going to be here a while, on how to do sassy, like cool ponytails.
Oh, girl, I've got you. I've got your perfect ponytail like right now.
Okay, that's going to be one of our next ones in the next few. The perfect ponytail. I love it. What other questions? Y'all are asking such great questions.
Yeah, please ask me anything.
Can you please recommend a good heat protectant as well? I have never used one.
So it's hard for me to say outside. It depends on your budget. If you're going for drugstore quality, I think Aussie is good because it's sulfate free, it's paraben free. So if you use one of their mousses, if you're going for drugstore quality, it'll at least protect your hair. Not my favorite. If we're going for like more professional quality, like I typically use 7 seconds detangler spray. Use that while your hair is extremely wet. And this is assuming that you're going from wet to drying your hair with a round brush. That will protect your hair from the heat. Yes, absolutely. Sorry. So this is the one that I use. It's a detangler, it's a setting spray. It'll help, well, one, you can detangle your hair. Two, it'll protect it from heat. Also, it's a leave-in conditioner. So if your hair is overly dry, this is a good option. Now, if you're not wanting to dry your hair like that and you're wanting to let it like air dry or whatever you need, but you're just using a thermal, like a flat iron or curling iron, the best heat protectant I can recommend is the Unite Glossing Spray. That's the one I use at the very end to set it. It's an anti-humectant and it's a heat protectant. This heat protectant is the best I've ever used. And I used to work with Aveda products, so like I've had my hands in a couple things. This is my favorite so far. It'll smooth down your hair, protect it from humidity, protect it from heat, and most importantly, if you're blonde, it'll protect it from UV rays. I can't recommend this product enough, honestly. So either, depending on what kind of heat protection you need, either the detangler or the glossing spray, but honestly, even the Unite shampoo and conditioner. So what I started, when I started this mannequin, I started using the 7-second shampoo and the 7 seconds conditioner. Are these cute? They have a built-in heat protection in them. So even if you don't use a lot of product, having a shampoo that has a heat protectant in it, like a little bit of one, will help you in the long run. My pleasure.
Who else has questions? Okay, Kayla, awesome job. Like this could not have been easy to do virtually. And you rocked. Oh, what about sensitive scalp? Another one.
Sensitive scalps. Laura, is this product safe? Yes. So
Okay.
7 seconds. So I have a hair loss condition called trichotillomania, and my scalp is extremely sensitive. And I have never had any trouble with this product, and nor have I known anyone who has had other hair loss conditions or psoriasis or anything to have any issues with the 7 seconds brand. They're very organic, they're very natural. So yes, I would. Should you start with the front of your hair? Sorry, Stacey, I didn't catch all that. I gotta find the chat.
Should you start with the front of your hair since it's the most important part? Do you mean like putting the product in first or?
Oh, you mean drying? You know, sometimes I do. It just depends. You know, the most important part of your hair, I would say the most important part of your hair is the front part. But if you tie it up and you set it right here, you should be fine. If you start with that part of your hair, it might get in the way if you let it loose. However, if you want a lot of volume, so a good example would be, just rip all this out. A good example would be like, it wouldn't dry out, no. As long as you keep your hair tied up in like a little, in a knot right here, it'll stay wet. Just make sure you're only pre-drying it to about 80%. But a good way to get this started, if you're worried about it drying out, especially if your hair dries very quickly, is to like section out all of your hair and take that little mohawk section, blow dry it all the way forward like this. Just start like right here or right at the crown. Usually right at the crown is easier. Blow dry it. And then take one of these sections. You're gonna need some clips for this. Roll it up and then stick a clip in it. That'll keep it in a little like nice little like roll right here while you're working for the rest of your hair. So you don't have to worry about it getting in the way. And also whenever you let that out, it's gonna get you the most bounce and the most volume, and that shape will already be forced in there. So it's a good way to start, especially if you want a lot of volume.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute earlier.
Oh, good.
Okay, awesome. Well, we just hit the hour. Kayla, awesome job. So fun to spend a Friday evening with y'all. And if this was your first time to join us, come back. And we're definitely making Miss Kayla do more demonstrations soon. Y'all have a great holiday weekend.
Yeah, I'll love to see you guys again soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Kayla.
Bye.